Welcome back to Peter and Roughie's Football Show. Alan Rough is alongside me, Peter Martin. Thomas Jordan of the Sunday Post is with us here in the studio. Alan Rough, you are an absolute disgrace, and I'm not having it. I have picked my World 11, and here is my all-time World 11, okay? And I haven't changed it since last week, okay? So Schmeichel in goal. My back four includes right back Danny McGrain, Beckenbauer, Baresi, Maldini, Cruyff just at the holding part of the diamond, Messi, Maradona, Pele, Van Basten and Gerd Müller. And you had a similar back line with Danny McGrain, but you've dropped Danny McGrain for Carlos Alberto.
Yes, well,
Explain yourself.
Yeah, I had a long think about it, and obviously Danny's a wonderful player, and I played with him on numerous occasions. And but I just thought, Carlos Alberto at his peak just pipped him, so I was a bit maybe too quick in putting Danny in there. But I'm sure Danny.
Hold on. Thomas, I can see the headline now. Rough snubs McGrain after second thoughts.
And I have to be really truth. I've obviously been at some of the Celtic games, and I've watched Danny at half time, sort of warming up the players at Celtic, and he's looking a wee bit sluggish. So
no, I'm
just
happy.
going to leave him.
I'm happy with him, by the way. Listen, he's when I was growing up, Thomas, I thought all right backs could beat 4 and 5 players before crossing the ball, and he was absolutely magnificent. And it's funny you saying that, actually, because you know how sometimes the journalists get a chance to play against former players.
Yep.
And Danny was playing in a team at Celtic Park, which included Kenny Dalglish, Terry McDermott, John Barnes, and he was still magnificent. He's just even at his age, but at his peak, he was
a thorough professional. And even when he played in these bounce games, the charity games, I played in one down at Dumfries with him, and he wasn't too happy with the referee decision. It was an off-time decision. He'd stepped up to play on, and the referee said play on, and they scored, and he was so disgusted. He actually just walked off the park. He said, we're not going to play this right, then I'm off you.
Well, to be fair, players, when you get to that level, you don't want to kid on, when it's a game of football. But anyway, you're a disgrace. You can't drop the number 2.
He also made another important change to his team as well. You can't let him away with.
No, last week he had 12 players on the park.
And plus Robin has now been taken out.
What happened with that, by the way? Arjen Robben in your World 11.
I had a serious think about him. I mean, you've only got a left foot. It's not good enough.
He's not even in your... I don't think he's in anybody's World 11. He's not even in Mrs. Robin's World 11.
Yeah, but he's out. So you must be happy.
Well,
I've taken him out.
Exactly, due to pressure. We will give you the golden years. Of course, Jordan McGee, the Hearts youngster, has been speaking today. Hearts unveiled their away kit, and they're getting ready for life in the Championship. Will it be the expected 3-horse race between Hearts, Hibs and Rangers? Jordan McGee doesn't see it that way.
I'm relishing the new season, but also you can't just think it's a 3-horse race with us, Hibs and Rangers, because you get teams down there, Livingston and Falkirk, who know what they're doing, Dundee, who've been there and went through the course ourselves, so we just need to try and adapt to the new league as much as we can.
So they're going to be in the Championship. He doesn't think it's going to be a 3-horse race. Do you, Thomas?
It has to be. I think taking away the first 3-4 weeks of the season, if Rangers, Hibs and Hearts aren't occupying the top 3 positions, then serious questions will be asked to the management and the players. They've got far better players than the rest, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they should squish it.
I think the 3 will be there, but Falkirk have obviously proved that they'll be thereabouts. Obviously they're going to have a new manager, depending on what kind of players he brings in as well. So I think it will be the 3, but I think Falkirk will just be sort of a hanging. I think how Falkirk will be very difficult to beat at home.
Okay, and of course still waiting to see exactly who is going to be unveiled as the new manager. I'm sure that will gather pace before we get to the end of this week. Lots to talk about on tonight's programme, as well as looking back over some of the weekend headlines as well, including that Hibernian rally at Easter Road to try and oust the chairman, Rod Petrie. It's the golden years. Okay, you've got to guess the year. A wee bit of fun in the second half of the programme. The Miss World contest was disrupted by feminist protesters in this year. You could watch the Goodies, Benny Hill and Coronation Street. It was the 1000th episode in this year. This was in the charts in this year. John Newcombe won the Wimbledon singles title. And if you were watching the movies Love Story, The Aristocats and Airports, Davy Webb was a hero in this year, as was Derek Mackay. Do you remember that name, Roughie?
Yeah, certainly do.
Yeah? You remember it?
Yeah, I do, but for me in that batch that you gave out, it was Benny Hill for me. I remember Benny Hill vividly, and basically because I remember it because my dad was a bit of a prude. And we used to sit around the television, me and my brother, waiting on the Benny Hill coming on, all the credits and everything. Yeah. And he would turn the television off.
He wasn't having it.
You can watch that.
Can
watch that.
And so that gave you the year.
Yes.
But Benny Hill could have been on in, any year in that decade.
Yeah, but there were other things as well.
Okay. He's just hard. I'm actually going to have to physically not write it on the information sheet here so he doesn't realise what year it is, Thomas. Would you have had a clue?
I wouldn't have had a clue.
No.
Other than having a look at it and seeing Roughie dig out your files when you were out the room and have a look.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think the other thing about it is that as people realise as we go on that you will do anything to cheat to win. Is that fair, Roughie?
Yeah, it's just professional.
You call it professionalism. Thomas and I call it cheating. Okay, what about this ding-dong that's going on, Thomas, between Dundee United and Rangers? It's been inflamed by the Dundee United chairman, Stephen Thompson, saying that Rangers are only 2 years old. This is, of course, because he's trying not to pay the full amount that Gers believe they're owed for Charlie Telfer.
Yeah, and it has been ongoing. It's been running, for over a year now. This one hasn't. And Stephen Thompson, I'm led to believe, was having talks with Gordon Wallace and was quite,
even Graham.
Graham Wallace, sorry, yeah, and he was, quite clear. 2 years. If you want to go to a tribunal, we'll go. So he clearly thinks they have a case. I'm not so sure myself, but it's an interesting one, and there is a lot of bad blood now. Bad blood between the two clubs. It's been ongoing for a while, various things, and it shows no sign of disappearing actually.
Yeah, he won't even go into the chairman's room or the director's box.
No.
He goes in with the Dundee United fans if the two teams meet.
No, I think the bad blood has moved from Aberdeen, between Rangers and Aberdeen, and it's moved to Dundee United now. Obviously there's a lot of things happening with the fans as well, and I'm sure these games will be, when it happens, when it comes around, there'll be big games. Yeah.
And Graham Wallace has mentioned over the weekend that Rangers are in a good financial state now. Do you get a feeling that the board has managed to steer themselves through these choppy waters?
Well, he obviously has to watch what he's saying. If he's coming out and saying things like that, he has to be right. But I mean, the alarming thing for me is the fans have asked, how many tickets have we sold? How many season tickets? He hasn't come out with that information, and unless he does obviously know something we don't, he's not going to divulge that. But I think at some stage he'll have to, because if the Rangers supporters go along and play day to day, as we're led to believe they're going to do, they could be in a wee bit of trouble.
And we had a reporter out there at Easter Road today, just waiting to see if there were any developments, because obviously Leanne Dempster has mentioned that she was going to speak to Terry Butcher. Do you see Terry Butcher being in the job? Just briefly, Thomas, as we get to the start of the next season?
I do. I think he'll survive. I think he'll be pretty fortunate to keep his job with the performance of his team since he took over, but I think he'll remain in charge.
Okay, the Taggart's football headlines today. Ronnie Dahlia's interview impressed the Celtic board so much, but will he be able to hold on to Fraser Forster and Virgil van Dijk? Also speaking today, Jordan McGee was unveiling the Hearts away kit and says he doesn't believe the championship will be a 3-horse race. There's a battle going on at the moment between Dundee United and Rangers. It could go to tribunal for the fee set for Charlie Telfer, who's decided to leave Rangers, and at 18 years of age, Rangers are due some form of compensation. He's joined Dundee United. Graham Wallace, as we just discussed, said Rangers are in a good financial state, and the future of Terry Butcher has still to be determined. But over the weekend, the Hibs legends, Jackie McNamara, Pat Stanton, and of course Paul Kane and Mickey Weir, all have joined supporters groups to call for the chairman Rod Petrie to stand down. That's your Taggart's football headlines.
Sports headlines, sponsored by Taggart.
Well, it's been a rip-roaring show, and I've got to get your thoughts just before we say goodbye. Roughie, well done to Jerry McCabe. He's going to be the number 2 to Paul Hartley. He was down there at Queen of the South, and Paul Hartley clearly sees his qualities.
Yeah, Jerry's been out a long time. Thorough professional, every club he's been at, and he's the kind of guy that you want in the dressing room for the players, and the players obviously respond to somebody like Jerry.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose on to, definitely, throughout the programmes all this week, people will react to your snubbing of Danny McGrain and dropping him from the World 11. We're going to have more of that. But, of course, join us Monday to Friday. It's Peter and Ruffy's Football Show.